So between the departments, collective vulnerabilities, impacts, we didn't really have a means of effective means of presenting risks, and more importantly, engaging executive teams into the value of risk management. All of our strategic risk information was collected and managed through separate spreadsheets, which still exist today, but also managed in silos. So it's very obvious that using this method alone would undermine a more mature risk framework that we very much had in the business. So something needed to change. So all you can see on this screen are a portfolio of enterprise risks divided by the part of the business that owns them, and also divided by kind of the level of the risk. So as I mentioned when we was going through kind of our risk information, we collect an awful lot of data about our risks. And what that means is that we can show a variety of different lenses. So what this gives an insight into what risks don't really have much of an impact on safety, health and environment, which ones that do. So it just focuses on the right lens of information here. What this really helps you do is to keep the right information on the screen so the right conversations are being had at the right time. And if we wanted to show a different lens of the information, say we wanted to see the same risks by their financial exposure, one click of a button and I'm there, and a different kind of conversation can be had if it's required in the room. So this is all very one big pull of this is it can be very reactive and can cope with different situations. As well as that, the other thing I wanted to highlight is that I've created a simple dashboard so for management information to show just to show key points quite quickly, and to also show improvement actions on a timeline amongst quite a lot of other things as well here. So for example, if I wanted to highlight just the consequence information to make this a bit more visible and bring in some of the actions, and I wanted to highlight that we've got a control weakness here. What I can do is I can open this up a little bit more and get through to the absolute detail and to understand some of the control a bit more as well, and understanding what this control means. So this has proved to be a good way of being able to dive into a risk in a bit more detail. It's very visual, so it's very good for kind of an executive environment where we're looking to discuss a risk in a bit more detail. But this is not just the only view that's available. The thing I wanted to highlight here is the use of a timeline to prioritize. Say you only have like 10 minutes with your executive, you want to highlight what are those actions that are overdue or coming up but they're at risk of completion, or those that are kind of just on the horizon. But what you are able to do is be able to get an overview of information across a range of different risks, and in this case it's going to be actions. So if I was just to click on one particular area, so I've got the Eastern risks here, and I've only got 10 minutes to exec. I want to show everything that's kind of overdue across this particular region. I'm able to do that, and I'm able to see all the important information, and also to also see what risk what kind of risk story that's kind of it exists in. So I'm able to see at a glance. I'm also able to guide the right information that have been defined and sit centrally within SharpCloud. This is the only information that we have at the moment that just sits within SharpCloud and is instead referred to across our range of risk information. All the information that I've showed you up to this point, it comes directly from each of those risks. And what this is trying to do is to show where there are common control areas, and to hopefully bring it all back so that there's a different lens of being able to scrutinize our risk information. It also exists across other risks as well. So you can see that blue box is the control itself. And what I can also show is it's also identified across a range of other risks as well. And what I can show at a glance, without going through any of the details at this stage, is To what extent has it been identified as managing, helping to manage that risk? And I've got a few where it's been reported as effective, some ineffective. But what I can gain as the control owner is I can understand what context this control has been identified across our range of risks. But what risk management should be doing as well is also to integrate with how the business manages its strategy, and to be very much a firm part of that. The relationships functionality is to understand how that strategic outcome relates to key processes in the organization and key risks relating to that, which includes both threats and opportunities, and also key assurance activities as well, in order to generate the more tailored improvement. And so this is just an example of where we are maturing the line of sight from risk through to strategic outcomes. Let me summarize the outcomes here. So enhancing the visibility and connectedness of our strategic risks has caught the imagination of senior leaders, enabling much better discussion and challenge of risk within the understanding of interdependencies. All information is accessible by the whole organization. I mentioned transparency earlier, and it's not just for risk specialists. This has been instrumental in joining the business together. The visualization of controls across risks has also provided a source of assurance for control owners across the organization, so that much better time has been spent discussing the right things. And it's also becoming the catalyst of a much more wider approach to achieving the horizontal view, which was more of the strategic alignment perspective that I provided just then. So through the unique presentation style, what we really wanted to get is to enable challenge. And normally when I show this to people for the first time, what I really expect is an awful lot of questions, because we're helping people see information in ways they haven't really before. So it really stimulates the right challenge and a natural curiosity from the whole organization, and much better attitudes.